Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today I am in Mayfair, the most affluent and upmarket part of London. You can see that the Ritz Hotel is just behind me here. But I'm not going to the Ritz today, I'm going to this place, which is called the Wolseley. And it's meant to serve the best English breakfast in London, in fact, in the whole of the UK. That's the reputation that this place has. Can it live up to the billing? Is it going to be the best breakfast I've ever had? Will it represent value for money? Because I'm sure if it's located next door to the Ritz, it's not going to be cheap. Well, let's go in and find out. So here I am at my table in the Wolseley, in a little private room. Just been given my breakfast to get the complimentary water, so that's fine. Just ordered my food. Let's have a quick look at the menu. You can see on here there are lots of different options. You can get porridge, pancakes, avocado, bagel, but I am going for the full English. This is why I've come here. This is what this place is famous for. This is meant to be the best full English breakfast in London, possibly the whole of the UK. Now you can have lots of different accompaniments, but I'm just going for the standard as it comes. And it's got the 7 of the 8 classic ingredients. So you've got a choice of eggs. I'm going for poached, bacon, sausage, beans, tomato, black pudding, mushrooms, and I've had to pay extra for my toast because it doesn't come with it, but I wanted the full 8 ingredients, so I've ordered the toast as an extra. So whilst we're here, let's talk about the history of this building. It's actually over 100 years old, opened in 1921. There's my tea, it's just arriving now. And when it originally opened, it was actually a car showroom for the Wolseley Motor Company. So that's where the name of this restaurant comes from. It dates back to its original owners. Now, that car company didn't last very long. It closed down 5 years later, went bankrupt. And Barclays Bank bought the building and then operated this as a branch of Barclays for around about 100 years. So that closed in 1999. And this restaurant was opened in 2003 and quickly established itself as one of the best London restaurants. We're actually right next door to the Ritz. So it's in Mayfair, the most affluent part of London. Now you can see from the tea that I've got, the teapot is quite special, quite posh. This is English breakfast tea, which obviously goes with my English breakfast. I wouldn't get anything else to go with it. So let's pour some of this out. Oh, of course, it comes with a strainer. It's real tea leaves, so I'm going to use the strainer to stop all of the leaves going into my tea. So very traditional British way of serving. That's quite a nice feature, isn't it? A nice sort of turning. You don't have to just have it on a spoon. Do that and it stops the drips going onto the table. Quite a nice little thing. Now they've given me some milk in a lovely pewter cup, but I don't drink milk, so I won't be having that. I'll just have my tea as it is. So let's have a taste of this tea and see what it's like. Very nice, as you would imagine. Tea is relatively straightforward to deliver. I'm not sure what type of tea this is. It doesn't actually say. It says English breakfast on here, but it doesn't give me any more details than that, so I don't know where the leaves have come from. So far, very good. And whilst I'm waiting for my food to arrive, let's talk about the history of the full English breakfast. This actually dates back to Anglo-Saxon times, so around 700 or 800 years ago, when before you went to work, you needed something hearty to eat. And in those days, meat was the main thing that people were eating, so that's why the full English consisted mostly of meat products. Now, it was actually improved in the Victorian era. That was when everybody had it. Oh, here we go. It's now arrived. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Could I get some ketchup, please? Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you very much. Awesome. Great. Okay, so here is the full English. So there are meant to be 8 ingredients in a full English, and they are sausage, bacon, black pudding, tomato, eggs, mushroom, baked beans, and then toast, which I had to order separately. It doesn't come as part of this. So obviously the Wolseley didn't read the ingredients of what goes into a full English. They only gave me 7 of the 8, but I've topped it up with my own cheese. So let's get started on this. I mean, visually, this looks very, very nice. Really nice plate. Got the Wolseley logo on here. Quite nice. It's elliptical form. Yeah, looks pretty good. I mean, you're not going to get much better than that. I got 2 poached eggs. You have the choice of fried, poached, or scrambled. I always go poached because I don't really like fried eggs, and scrambled eggs can be a bit creamy for me. So poached is also a good test as to whether the kitchen have done a good job with the egg. So let's start off with a bit of this sausage. Thank you. Put some ketchup. Okay, so here's the sausage. Looks pretty good, obviously. You'd expect it to be nice and meaty. Maybe taste of that. That's a very tasty sausage. Not fatty whatsoever. It looks like it's been fried the way it's presented. It's got a hard, crispy outer coating, so I think it has been fried. But it doesn't taste fatty and greasy, which you can get if you fry it too long in too much oil. Really rich taste, more of a Cumberland sausage, I would say that is. It's got some spices in it. You can see by cutting another piece off, you can actually see some of the spices in there. So you can see in there that you've got some little black flecks, which represent all the different spices. Really quite incredibly tasty. I mean, you could eat that on its own very happily. Now let's take a bit of this egg. Let's check that the poached egg has been done correctly. So I'll just break the yolk. You can see that it's running really nicely. So that's been cut to perfection. So I'll have a little bit of the egg with the sausage, which is a classic English breakfast combination. There we go. That's a really high quality egg. It's been really nicely poached. Even though it's poached, it's been presented like a fried egg. So sometimes when you get a poached egg, it's quite small. It can sort of suck in. This is actually looks more like a fried egg the way they've done it. So they've double poached it. They've put 2 eggs together, poached it together so that it makes it a bit bigger. So visually, I think it's more appealing, but it's really light and fluffy. It's melts in the mouth in terms of that egg. So highly recommend that. Right, let's have a look at some of this bacon. Now, as you can see, this is streaky bacon. It's not back bacon. Now, back bacon is in the English Breakfast Society definition of what should be in a full English. So, technically, this should be back bacon, which is basically all meat, rather than streak bacon has a combination of fat and lean meat. But that's what the Wolseley have given me, so I'll go with it. I mean, this streaky bacon looks quite nice. It's been fried well. It's interesting that it's obviously been fried doubled over, so this bit's hard and then this bit is actually quite soft. So I'll take a bit of the hard, have a bit of that with the egg. I'll have it on its own to start with just to see what it's like. It's got a very rich, smoky flavour. So it's smoked, streaky bacon. It's actually incredibly tasty. So even though it does have quite a lot of fat on it, you can see in that piece there's a fair bit of fat. So you can see the fat here. It doesn't taste fatty. Again, it sort of dissolves in your mouth. So it's really high quality bacon. I think it's been dry cured. So that's a process whereby they actually dry out the bacon rather than just leaving it to be really wet. And what that means is that when you cook it, it becomes very light and just melts in your mouth. So really nice. Have a bit of that with the egg. Bacon and egg, classic combination. It's really tasty. The smokiness on that bacon is really, really nice. It just lifts the flavour. So it doesn't really taste of meat. You can taste the smokiness and everything that's gone into it. Really nice flavour. Let's try some of these beans. Now, beans are an interesting addition to a full English breakfast because the baked beans weren't really invented until the 20th century. So obviously they don't date back to the Anglo-Saxon era. This was more in the 1950s when the phrase, the full English, was actually coined. That was the first time it was used. Before that, it was just called breakfast, but then became full breakfast. So beans are sort of relatively modern, and this was, let's just taste it. So those beans, they're not Heinz beans, and Heinz beans I think are sort of universally known. Everybody knows what a Heinz bean tastes like. These beans are nowhere near as sweet. So they taste a bit more beany and a bit less saucy. Quite nice. They're not my preferred brand. They're okay. I wouldn't give them 10 out of 10, those beans, but they're fine. Now, let's go into a controversial part of this breakfast. This thing is called a black pudding. So you can see why it's called a black pudding, because it's very black. And this is basically made from pig's blood mixed with fat and then put into a sausage skin. It's actually boiled first, so when it's first made it gets boiled, and then usually it's sliced, but in this situation it's been made into a sausage and sort of served as a sausage. So this was originally included in the breakfast because back in the olden days they didn't want to waste any of an animal. So when they killed a pig, they usually took the blood immediately because it spoils very quickly, mixed it with some fat and made this black pudding. So it's a good way of making sure you got all of the nutrients and the ingredients used up from the pig. These days, black pudding isn't really very popular because it's not seen as being very healthy. Eating something that's a combination of blood and fat probably isn't on the top of anybody's list. It's not my favourite food. I don't really like black pudding, but I will have some for the purposes of this video because I'm here to test this breakfast out. But let me just show you. It's very soft inside, so you can see because it's blood and fat, it doesn't really hold together. It's not like meat, not like a real sausage, which is predominantly made of meat. This is made of stuff that's going to fall apart, so the sausage skin's holding it together. So you can see there, it's not as black on the inside. You can see some of the red pigments. So let me just taste what it's like. It has a very distinct flavour. If you've ever had it before, you'll know exactly what it tastes like. If you haven't had it, I'll describe it. It's very soft in the mouth. So when you put it in, it almost tastes like pate or terrine. It's that same type of consistency, very smooth. You could probably spread that with a knife on a piece of toast if you wanted to. The overriding flavour, it's a meaty flavour, but with an element of fattiness. It doesn't really taste the same as bacon. So even though it's made from pig's blood, it doesn't taste of ham or bacon. And it's cereal and oats are put into it. So either oats or wheat are mixed into it to give it a bit more body. So really it tastes of that type of. If you think about mushing up some wheat into a bowl, it wouldn't really have a lot of flavour. If you then add some blood onto it, it gives it a little bit of flavour. As I've said, it's not my favourite thing on an English breakfast, so I probably won't eat all of that, but I wanted to test it. And in terms of black pudding, as it goes, it's good quality, as you would imagine. Here, you just have that. Good quality. Can't argue with it. I just don't really like black pudding in principle, but I've eaten it today just for the purposes of showing you what it's like. We've then got a mushroom over here. This is a fried mushroom. Let's have a taste of that. That is excellent. So a fried mushroom, if you cook it correctly, it retains all of the moisture and the succulence, and that is exactly what this tastes like. So when you eat it, as you bite into the mushroom, it's like an explosion of flavour and liquid coming into your mouth. So it's almost like it's been secretly contained within the mushroom. Really, really well cooked. Obviously a high quality mushroom, so very nice. And then fried tomato is the last of the actual food pieces. That's very nice. It tastes basically like a tomato that's just been heated up rather than I've been to a lot of places where a fried tomato tastes of cooking oil or fat, or sometimes even tastes of fish if they've used the same oil that they've cooked fish in previously. This one's been very lightly fried, just tastes like a warm tomato, right? I better have some of this toast because I paid an extra for it, and it's one of the 8 ingredients, so it's the last one that I'm going to have. me get my little knife from my section here. It's actually, first thing to note about this toast is it's cold. So it's cold, and the second thing to note about it is it's rock hard. So I think I could actually snap that in half, look. It's like a cracker. It's not really how I like my toast. That's terrible. That's some of the worst toast I've ever had. That's not good. Let's see if they're all like that. It's a bit better. They're all cold and not very well made. It's very hard. So, not very impressed with the toast, since I paid extra for it. Might send that back. Is it possible you could replace this toast, because it's cold and hard and it's sort of, it's just like a cracker.
Sure. One you want, but less.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah?
that's not how I.
White toast.
Yes, please. Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks. Just eating this bacon. It's quite hard. It's been overcooked. It's crunchy. Look at it. You can see it's been overcooked. Actually a bit burnt in places as well. So, not really what I expect from a breakfast that cost me £24.50. I expect it to be really well cooked. This has been overdone. I really like the bacon. A bit disappointing. Crispy bacon's one thing. Hard bacon, not really what you want. Okay, so here is the replacement toast that they've given me. That's warm, at least. The last one was cold. It doesn't snap in half, which is good. So let's have a taste of this toast. Second round of toast, and it's not because I've eaten the first round. I actually sent it back because it wasn't very good. I mean, just in terms of toasting, it's a bit pale. It's a bit light. It's not much toasting in it. It's like almost warm bread. The butter is really, really salty, like incredibly salty. So I don't mind a little bit of salting in my butter, but that is more salt than I'm used to. Let's have a little bit more of that. That's definitely been over salted. There's way too much salt in that butter. So I don't mind a little bit of salt, but too much salt like that really just becomes overpowering. All you can taste in that toast is salt. Basically, I may as well just take the salt cellar here, which is quite posh. Quite a nice little salt and pepper set that they've given me. May as well just take that and just pour that straight into my mouth. Yeah, the toast has been really disappointing here. I mean, I would have thought toast fairly easy to do, toast and butter. I mean, you can get that anywhere in the world and it's fine, but here it's been really disappointing. Oh, one other thing that you get here is a free newspaper. So I don't think you can keep it because it's actually got the Wolseley printed on the front of it. But they give you a paper to read whilst you're having your breakfast. But I don't really read newspapers anymore. I tend to just do all my stuff online. But yeah, a little perk if you do want to come here. You can get the Times there or the newspapers available. Didn't ask for the full range, but that's a little perk that you get here. Okay, so we've now got the bill. So let's have a look. It comes in a very nice presentation. They've given it on a silver platter. Don't think you get to keep that. So let's have a look at the bill. So we have, this is it. So £24.50 for the full English, £3 for the toast, £5.95 for the very posh tea that we've got, and they've then got So that gives us a subtotal of £33.45. They then added a 15% service charge of £5.02 to give us a grand total of £38.47 for my breakfast. So that is definitely one of the most expensive full English breakfasts that I have ever had, and I had to pay extra for the toast that didn't come. I also had to pay extra for the tea, so those two things were not included. So £38.47, that is incredibly expensive. What's my overall assessment of this full English breakfast at the Wolseley? Is it the best in London? Is it the best in the UK? Well, I can say categorically it definitely is not the best in London or the UK. It's actually not the best I've had in the past week, never mind in my whole life. So disappointing. I think in terms of the surroundings and the atmosphere, it's very upmarket, it's very Mayfair, very affluent, so it gives you the opulent feeling. Very high ceilings, big chandeliers, nice marble tables, obviously all of the equipment is very nice and comes looks like it should be expensive. The food itself, let's go through it in detail. The sausage was very good, so I can't argue with the sausage. That's exactly what I was expecting. The bacon wasn't that good. It did taste nice, had a nice smoky flavour. It was good quality bacon, but it'd been overcooked, so it was quite hard and crunchy. So that was a bit disappointing. The beans were a bit tasteless. I've got better beans than that in my house, so that was disappointing. The eggs were very well done. They were superb. Fantastic, top range, and they've been cooked very, very well. So impressed with the eggs. The tomato was also very good, as was the mushroom. It's disappointing that the black pudding, I don't like black pudding, so I can't really give you a classification on that because I don't eat it very often. In terms of the toast, that was incredibly disappointing. That was probably the low point of the meal because it was cold to start with, which shouldn't happen when you're paying extra for it and you've asked for it and they deliver it to you separately. It should be coming to you straight away. So it's obviously been sitting around for a while to go cold. But not only was it cold, it was rock hard, so it had been overcooked and then left to go cold. So it was like a cracker. You saw when I broke it in half, it just crumbled into pieces. So I actually sent that back. Disappointing, they didn't knock it off the bill. So they gave me another round of toast, which was undercooked, so that was pale, not particularly nice. The butter was oversalted, but yeah, they didn't knock it off the bill, which I was quite surprised about. Normally when you send things back, they tend to give you a gratuity in response to it, so I'm going to have to pay for the meal now. Okay, so I've now settled the bill, so just go back to picking up that point about the toast. It was very disappointing that they didn't give me a discount in response to the toast. I wasn't looking for a discount. It's not something that I'm trying to achieve. I'm not coming in just to cause trouble, but it wasn't up to standard, so that wasn't good. The tea was very nice, and it's served in a nicely presented, but my overall assessment here is that this is overrated. It's probably targeted towards people who want the Ritz experience, which is next door, but maybe they can't get a booking at the Ritz, or they can't get into the Ritz for whatever reason, so they come here because they think it's the next best thing. It isn't that great. I think it's a disappointing breakfast. £38.47. I feel a bit ripped off. Definitely not value for money. So in terms of my overall score for the Wolseley full English breakfast, well, I think from a food point of view, it's I'm gonna have to give it a 6.5. It's really disappointing. Some of the food was good, but some of it was bad. So overall, I think 6.5. In terms of the layout, the presentation, the environment, it's more like an 8. It's quite a nice place to come. It's quite a nice place to come for a treat. So yeah, so overall my score, combining the location and the food, probably pulls it up to a 7. But for the price, it's not worth it. It's very expensive, and for a very expensive breakfast, I'm expecting at least an 8 or a 9 out of 10. 7 out of 10, not worth it. I wouldn't recommend coming here if you're thinking about where to go for a full English breakfast in London. I wouldn't come here. I just wanted to interrupt at this point. I'm on the tube on the way home now, and the more I think about it, the more I'm really annoyed about the standard of that breakfast, because when you're paying almost £40, I expect it to be absolutely tip-top class, absolute top end of everything. And it simply wasn't. You know, there were so many disappointing parts about it. Not just the toast, which was an outrage that they served me some hard, cold bread that I could crack in half. When I'm paying almost £40 for breakfast, that's an incredible amount. That's what I would pay for an evening meal. I'm expecting it to be top end, the best breakfast I've ever had in my life. And that certainly was not. In fact, it wasn't even the best breakfast I've had recently. So I wanted to downgrade the score to a 5 because I don't believe that they deserve more than a 5. My overall assessment is that it's not worth it, it's overrated, it's living on its reputation, but the reputation isn't justified by what's going on in terms of the food. So I'm downgrading it to a 5 and I can get back to the video. So thank you very much for watching this video all the way through to the end. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, found it interesting. I'm trying to put as much information into these videos as possible to talk to you a little bit more about other things around the topic, not just talk about the food. So hopefully you're enjoying that. Please drop me a comment below to let me know what you think. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, like this video, and I will see you again on the next.